One fight, but it's not the end. So get back up and you lost one fight, but it's not the end. So get back up and
problems that they could have. Top lane, Blizzy actually might go down, and this is so bad. They might actually give up a second kill, though the Inkswell may push mid-game away. In fact, the stun is good enough, but I really need you to win that Axe matchup against the Ember Spirit. I think it is so important because Axe's timing can be a little bit slower. If he loses his lane, there is a very short window.
Trouble bottom, as we're going to see the shot down there. It's Taiga getting last hit with that power shot. Deceptively good damage there, and even the Fat Ogre is not going to be able to withstand it. And it's a little concerning. That means Dream is going to have to backpedal a lot. Taiga is like the full support enforcer in this, and Boxy's going to get a full wave to work with. It's going to be a heavy amount of pressure coming back that way with two range creeps. A little bit of redemption, CS potentially there for Dream, but nonetheless, it's looking like two strong side lanes for Liquid to start this one out.
Yeah, and another lane that isn't going as well as I would hope is the Storm versus Visage matchup. He is winning in CS, but I want him to like really dominate. I want him to have more denies because Visage, one of his biggest problems as a mid laner is pre-level 6, no damage. I mean, just look at his base attack. He's hitting for 60 damage right now. You look at Storm Spirit, he's hitting for 80. Right? You have a significant damage lead on this hero. I need you to get like a significant CS advantage over this Visage. I need him to get a lot of denies in this matchup to keep the Visage underleveled. Because once he does hit 6, then he starts really scaling upwards.
Koifa was able to get hold of the Arcane Rule top where they go for the creep pull, and as Peter mentioned in the panel, what is a Coddle going to do to stop an Axe? He's just watching this guy come into his turf and just can't offer a whole lot. Blizzy will just chop him down and get a little bit of redemption going his way in that side lane.
I think they didn't do this this creep cutting before because they wanted to pressure the Ember Spirit more. Like they wanted to actively, because you've got a pretty interesting kill combination where you have this Axe who just runs at you with Inkswell. You'll, again, no matter how tanky you are with the Ogre, Tusk makes everybody squishy.
Connected here and stop the games from crashing. Something was related though on a serious note. Of course, sometimes things like this slip through, but everyone, including our observer, actually crashing from the so something rather serious. We get the good to go, and hopefully we can play more than time now.
Yeah, or at least the pause game is not paused.
Or at least we could, expect a pause game. What are we to do here?
Yeah, that's okay. So do you see the equation thing? You just the double equal, the equal sign.
Yeah.
That is called that's the weight sign.
The what sign?
So it indicates that it's weight.
Oh,
yeah.
Double equal sign.
Yeah, double equal sign. Because in Chinese, if you translate that, it's equal is 等等. So 等等 in Chinese is called weight.
Ah.
Yeah.
Now I know. Equal.
Equal, that's weight.
I was for the
So-
longest time I wasn't sure what GWR means, but it's go. We're ready.
We're ready, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Oh, speaking of that,
there's another big ulti mid lane. IG, I mean, we just saw the PL die here to an area of control ulti, and then Ollie's like, me too, thanks.
don't call me out.
Don't count me out. But JT just utilizing the tree here. You may have cut down all of his trees, but he brought his own. He came prepared. He packed his own.
Packed his
Packed
own
his own
lunch.
lunch. Yeah.
So-
What do you think we should still see the hood of Defiance? Oh no, this does not bode well, unfortunately.
All right, musical chair time, guys.
Share time.
Your turn. Felix is saying.
你行你行，你上你上。
So let's see. This is gonna get a little bit close now. Who do you suspect of these four heroes? I suspect the Void, Faceless Void is gonna be best off. He's gonna be the winner. As the tips coming through.
Bane of your existence.
Oh, just like that. Yeah. Match, but some sort of issues preventing play from proceeding on for more than 20 seconds here at a time, and we're gonna have, you know, get an update on that whenever we can. But we'll see what the outcome of this match shall be. Currently, IG leading 1-0 with a somewhat good lead, although with those two kills in the mid lane, it does kind of shift the dynamic a little bit more, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And
One,
so for IG, I'll say they have a much more solid lineup that hits their pick together as a team. So if they manage to get that, they'll be able to run over SAG, and SAG this time around. From the last game, it shows that SAG their heroes are just falling apart
big disconnect here.
one by one.
Yeah. Find the Meepo. Whack a Meepo, rather.
Meepo, Meepo.
我是一个没有感情的刷钱机器。
Well, oh, there we go. It's gonna be Lich taking it this time. But yeah, I think like you're saying, I mean, right now, JT the most farmed in JT's gonna be the most farmed in the game. So he's doing quite a good job. Still early on, 13 minutes. He's gotten the tier 1 tower by himself. Well, with the creep as well, right? And he is pressuring that top tier 2. He's forced rotation. We see SAG now rotating around through as players. I mean, at least they have the game in between the game to keep themselves entertained right here. So we'll see. They're going to be rotated on through. We do have Chronosphere back up. Bit weird to have so many pauses. I feel like it throws off your timings of like, how long ago did he chrono? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that's true.
We've played musical chairs since.
Just been playing musical chairs for the past like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And also these kind of pauses, sometimes it slows down your momentum, so all of a sudden you don't really know what are you supposed to do in this point of time.
Yep. No, I totally agree with you. Timbersaw going to pick up that Hooded Defiance, though, with the Bracer. Makes him a lot tankier. That adds up to 50% magic resist. So, pretty good spot against the Storm Spirit, who did just pick up an Arcane Rune. So, SAG, I saw a tweet about this. I don't remember who it was from, so I do apologize. But, no, commenting about how some of the better teams, they don't really wait for their big item timings. They go on small timings. A Rubik Spell Steal was the example quoting from the tweet. An Arcane Rune example for it is like a huge mini spike, but that gives you just a small edge that can help you win a team fight here.
Yeah, this is something that the very, very top team are abusing. This small spike that you gain from your opponent. Yeah. So teams like Secret, teams like OG. Oh, they're saying that they heard that the game is crashing when there's a Timbersaw pick. I have no idea if they are joking about this or if this is real.
Having Arthur here, an indispensable tool. If this that's the game, I could let you know.
Yeah, JT is saying, what if I just quit? I just quit then.
Interesting. I wonder what the issue with the Timbersaw pick is here. Right now, it's been working out for them quite nicely as we get to our round of musical chairs. Oh, the pause. Lich wins. To be able to get that momentum out. Okay. Could be the Timbersaw. I mean, it is the first Timbersaw game of the day.
True.
There seems to be some creative. I believe we've seen every single hero. Actually, no, we haven't seen Mars or the Bane yet today. So, the Nyx. Could be a number of things here. Hopefully, we can continue on. Luckily, our observer's not been crashing whatsoever. Yikes.
Oh, this time around is the triple kill.
Triple kill. Meepo's come out for blood, for vengeance. This is going to be pretty... There we go, thank you. Put that to the side as...
Are you waiting for me to translate
Yes,
that?
yes, sorry, I was hoping, I wasn't sure. I don't think my translation would be very accurate. I saw BP, something battle pass?
Yeah, I think they are saying like to restart Dota, to restart the client.
Restart the client.
Yeah.
The problem is though, the problem lies within the server. Who knows? Hopefully we can get this match going, although it's been a painstakingly slow process as we continue to try and play.
Thankfully, all the players are really professional,
Yes.
as well as the crew behind this as
Of
well.
course, the crew
To
as
be
well,
able to always be prompt to solve problems.
Yes,
Big
of
shout out
course.
to them, to ESL crew.
Absolutely behind the scenes here. It's hard enough to listen to me cast, even harder. I have to waffle here in between these long pauses. Shout outs to them. But Smoke here, Bane level 7, Nightmare up being applied. Ollie, it's only the 2 supports here actually. As Queen of Pain situated in the top lane, I believe is our Phantom Lancer here on the map.
Yes.
Don't see him.
Yeah, I don't
He's-
see him as well.
He's hidden behind an icon, it appears. PL, I don't think he's down here. They could potentially try and fight this one out, but a bit of a longer pause here as we try and get everything sorted out.
Classic dot from the Chinese player there.
What does that mean?
I mean, when they are split cheers, they always just put a dot. So it means that they are split cheers.
Oh, I see dots a lot.
Yeah, you see dots a lot.
I see
from
dots a
mine.
lot. So that's why I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, let's try it again.
We're gonna try once
The
more.
13th time it will be the charm.
Oh, you never know.
Okay, what does that mean? Equal, equal.
Yeah, oh, it means wait.
Yeah.
I know.
All right.
I know. I understand.
You're paying attention.
Slowly but surely. Shares, I think.
You're learning Mandarin through Dota. How beautiful is that?
I really am. We're seeing, I think the player patience is running out as we only got 2 people now participating in musical chairs. This is like when you're at a bad party and the host is like, come on guys, let's play musical chairs. It's like,
And no one responds to you.
nobody wants to play musical chairs. I hate it when that happens, when no one wants to play musical chairs with you. Get ready to dance. I don't think they want to here. Nyx Assassin, going to be going for the Yule Scepter rather than the Meteor Hammer, however.
Hope they back him up a little bit because they are going to try and initiate here.
Yeah, we see the Moment of Brilliance replay as it was a great will-o-wisp to cancel out the chrono while we do have
just
action top
beautiful
lane.
snowball.
GPK tries to move on forward. They battle through, but yeah, that snowball, that defense from Liquid, the heads up is just too good. Are they even going to take anyone down from Liquid side? It's a double kill for Koikfa, and they're not done yet. Chase is on for little Yol on the Ogre. He's trying to just waltz himself out. Turns to Mickey, is eating a lot of damage, but they're not going to have the finishing potential. It's 4 to drop. Liquid lose nobody, and 4 to 11 with a 7K net worth lead. I think we might see our first W for Liquid if things continue this way.
Yeah, I think inherently there is a problem with that initiation in that you're going on the Visage first. Unless you think that he is completely isolated, this is just a bad idea because look how he is fully initiated on by 3 different heroes, and he doesn't really take that much damage. Even if they do kill him, his familiars will still be alive. So he will still have a significant impact in the fight. Even if he's dead here, the rest of Liquid will still clean you up with the help of the familiars for sure.
Yeah, with Koikfa being able to pick up that pipe and having so much defense, he just reaches this whole new power peak. Gambit obviously not ready for it here and now. And I don't know if they have the time to afford this game to just suddenly, well, we'll just sit back and build up more resources and get him in the next round, fellas. I don't think that is going to be available to them with that pipe pickup. I mean, Liquid are just insinuating that it is, you know, they're going into full drive at this point. It's a wonderful new voice line there, by the way. We're not singing a voice lines, considering this is like our first coverage with the new battle pass. I
Yeah,
gotta
people are
say.
a little out of practice with it,
Yeah.
I think, you know?
Now they're remembering now. They're like, oh yeah, we have voice lines.
Yeah, this is going to be a very free Roshan with all that physical damage, thanks to tag team working both with all of these heroes, but also works with the familiars. It will not work with the wolf, but familiars are counted as like creep heroes, I think is the term of the mechanic. It's the same with like the pandas. When Brewmaster splits, those all count as like semi-heroes for a lot of things like tag team, for
I would
example.
assume Lone Druid Bear falls in that
Yes,
category
exactly.
too.
Lone
Okay.
Druid Bear is the same way.
All right, fair enough. I am learning the rules of Ice Frog on these kind of cases here as we see Snowball uppercuts onto Vampire, and he's sent back to the heavens above. Swift takedown, Mickey will pocket that kill. Liquid's assault continues here as they try to clean out that top tier 1. You know, it's Gambit trying to move around the map, take out what resources are there. If they can snag a kill opportunity, I'm sure they would go for it. But I think the era of seeing the jump in, prime, axe, blink, like that is gone. They might have to be more on the counter plays now and defensive plays.
I think if you were just to watch Mickey the entire game, you would get a really strong understanding of Gambit's biggest issue. It's just straight up damage. Like, he has been able to play fearless. He will just run across the map completely solo because the only thing that really kill him is like a perfect combination of Grimstroke plus maybe the Storm Spirit, and even then it would be hard. Remember when he was in top lane, he got Chronosphere and he didn't die? Well, he showed back up to lane with an axe and a void. 2 cores were in his lane, and he didn't care. He was still farming the lane because he knows there's just no threat.
I mean, he's itemizing that way too, right? I mean, Deso and
Yeah.
it looks like Ag's next. There's no defensive item in sight. It seems like just such a confident build-up, and you can't really fault him for it, as you mentioned. There's just not enough to take down this Ember, and as the levels continue, he builds up his stats. It's just going to be a tougher challenge for Gambit, and suddenly here comes Liquid. They're knocking at the front door. They're moving in.
I mean, all his survivability really comes from his being around his Visage as well, right?
True.
Like if he's around the Visage, he's getting this pipe aura, which means this Flame Guard is not going to get knocked down nearly as quickly. He can even have the Medallion of Courage placed on him. At this point in time, I don't think there's anything that slows him down. They just keep on pushing until Gambit finally respond with the Chronosphere. And then if Gambit don't manage to win that fight, then you're guaranteed a lane of barracks.
Poor Yol outside the base was spotted as a kind of nearby bouncer, gets blasted out. I mean, but you're right, Liquid at kind of the stronger peak as they're here together, benefiting from each other's items and utility. And with Quakeva leading the helm on this Visage, it's just looking so damn scary. They'll backpedal for now. They're looking to go for the outpost to try to deny that 20-minute surge of XP.
This is fair. I think the only reason you back away from the push is because bounty runes are about to spawn. It's also a good opportunity to get a pick, right? As you move backwards into this side of the map where Gambit previously was farming, you could potentially find a pick. If not, you'll secure a lot of bounty runes. I don't think they should give Gambit too much time. The power spike of Liquid here is incredibly massive when you compare it to Gambit, who are still looking like you just finished a Manta on the Faceless Void. That is not a damage item, really, right? It doesn't change that much. You just now got Bloodstone on GPK, but similarly, it's not enough to really threaten this Ember Spirit too much.
It's like he needs a lot, right? He needs the damage, but he can't do damage if he gets hit with a blinding light while in the bubble. So I don't know. He's just like, I need to Manta off my problem so that I can get out whatever little damage I can and just prioritizes the defense over the offense for now. But it feels like whatever road he goes down, he doesn't have enough money to just get it all. And now suddenly Liquid are here at the front door again, and they got to backpedal and be here for a defense, or they risk just losing their first set of racks. There's the Bloodlust on the tower. That's not going to, unfortunately, help too much, and now the Raxes are totally exposed. The Wolf and the Familiars begin to go to work. You know, they still have Dream as he now makes his return back to the base. Are they going to try to catch Liquid on the way out?
No, I mean, they just gave up a full lane of barracks when they had Chronosphere up. You know, that shows what Gambit think about this game, that they feel like they're so far out of it right now that the very idea of fighting is just bad. They got to just split push. I'm a little bit surprised that they're still going out here like this because they're still a 5-man Liquid.
Yeah, and Liquid not afraid to make that quick turn. They sharply take down Blizzy. He's already out of the equation for 30 seconds, and Dream could be next. Thankfully able to get that time walk away, redeems a bit of his life, but look at them just scramble back home where it's safe. It's like one of those moments where they got Liquid move in, they get everything as they leave. Gambit's like, yeah, you better walk away. You better walk away. And then they
What'd
turn
you say?
What'd you say? Like, I'm sorry, man.
Nothing.
It's exactly how it felt there, and Blizzy was the one to eat the punch. And now Liquid are just going to hang around in this turf. They snipe down Vampire and just are in full and total control of this one at 4-16. You know, GPK will try to split these side lanes and build up what resources he can. I'm proud that he's been able to hold these charges on his Bloodstone without having to feed away too much, but it feels like ultimately just is not going to amount to a whole lot. They need so much fights, so much time to farm. And I don't think Liquid are going to permit it one bit. Here they go, potentially looking to catch out GPK. He gets a long jump in TP though, and he'll be fine.
You know, I feel like a little bit of a broken record because casting these Gambit games, what I keep on going back to is that I feel like they're making some okay to decent moves. There's not that much better they can do. It just inherently comes down to their draft.
Oh my gosh, are they going to fulfill the Coddle bounty they set? They have a minute left to get the bounty. Get it, Zania! No!
Oh dear.
He actually turns it around with the assistance of the Will-O-Wisp, kills Blizzy. And unfortunately, it was 2 bounties. They set a new bounty there at the end.
Oh, get him!
Get that bounty, boys! We got to get it! GPK wants it. That'd be hilarious if they got the bounty and then GG.
GG'd out immediately? That's what I would do. That's what I would do in this game. But Gambit, I mean, they still have a chance just because they do scale so well into late game, but it's going to require Liquid throwing on the high ground.
Oh, for sure. Mid lane, Dream, who was pressuring back Mickey, gets caught out as the goons show themselves from the riverside, and suddenly he's going to be out of the fight. 40 seconds. Liquid, I imagine, will migrate south, take this tier 2, and look to push in their second lane here. And as you mentioned, Gambit just got to play defensively and hope for some sort of overzealous action from Liquid. But my God, everybody's made of paper on Gambit's side, especially for his support.
A Core Tusk when he's ahead is very tough to fight into. I think people underestimate how much damage Walrus Punch does because you're so used to seeing it on a support. And it's like, it's more of a disable more than anything. But a Core Tusk that has levels and actually gets a couple of strength items, he usually takes like at least half a support's health with just Walrus Punch.
When somebody sets a bounty, do both teams see it?
I have no idea.
I'm curious if Insania sees them like marking him up all the time. That would be funny. It could be a good mind game tactic potentially for the future as well, as we see Liquid smoked up, using the high ground nearby to see if maybe Gambit make an approach. They are from the low ground coming in. They're going to get spotted, jump in. It's Boxy going for the immediate uppercut takedown of Dream, but Dream is able to get the time walk away, but he is hurt badly. Will have to sidestep, and now Liquid make their approach. Mickey, though, gets hit from the Grimstroke ulti. Lots of damage. Nice swift Yules, though, before Blizzy can go in with the finishing blow if it was available to him, and now they both get shackled up, and they're going to get hit hard as Boxy comes back in, punches them both down. Gambit lose 2, soon to lose more as they catch Dream on the side. He will also be finished. Everybody's spamming out all of their new Battle Pass treats, and then the GG is going to get called. I mean, Cap, it was kind of foretold this way. The draft, as you mentioned, just not the strongest for Gambit, and we kind of just saw things played out as it should.
Yeah, I think Gambit could have played this lineup maybe 10-15% better. I would like to see them cut creep waves a little bit more. I think just inherently going on that Visage, that initiation in the top lane, there's something a bit flawed about that. And then the third thing they could have probably done better was winning that top lane. I think you really needed to win both mid and top pretty heavily to have a chance in this game and get that snowball rolling early. But I think that those are small potatoes. At the end of the day, your lineup was just going to have a problem. They got last pick visaged in a lineup that couldn't deal with it. So there was just going to be a lot of issues in this matchup, and it's probably why Gambit looks so bad.
Yeah, honestly couldn't said it much better myself, so I want to hear if the panel have anything else to add. Let's throw it back over to Grant and the rest of them.
Much better over here, my friend. PPD, gods, And that was, we'll just say, that was an ass whooping from, I want to say, about 2 minutes in. We did see a couple of early kills from Gambit. You're like, okay, they're bringing it back. And then, Peter, you said it, where's their damage? We saw the first 2 chronos. One was top, they didn't get a kill. The second was by that Roche pit. They got blinding lighted and Coddle ultied. And you don't have a BKB, you're kind of useless as a Void versus Coddle when your ulti's up. It was a rough game to watch.
I think Gambit has earned themselves the worst draft of the tournament so far with this game here.
Damn. And is it really because they just lacked damage? Because you got team fight, but you just don't have damage.
No damage.
Okay.
They could axe call all 5 heroes, nobody would die. Maybe if Storm zipped across the map with an axe call, and they could do that, but they have no chrono damage, they have no follow-up for axe. Storm is the hero that kind of wants to take like scrappy fights and like come in and then leave and then regen and then come back in, and
which he did a few times early, right? And then everyone on Dire got that one item, and you can't do it anymore. You have to play with other people.
Yeah, just no synergy in their heroes.
Yeah.
It's like normally the story of like a 10th pick Visage game is like, oh, there's this 10th pick Visage doing Visage things. It really isn't though. Like, that could be any hero.
If a 10th pick Visage is the hero that ruins your draft, like there's something wrong with your draft.
And we do see that was the chrono. This is the one where Peter's like, yeah, I think they just lose because really you threw a chrono and a position 5 just counters you completely, right?
It's not like they were missing their spells. Yeah. I mean, he has
a
2-man chrono. Grimstrokes got them linked. But it's like, okay, yeah, you got all the setup. You know, they're linked together. We've axe called them. They're in a chrono.
Do damage.
Wait. Oh. Where's our 6th hero that's supposed to do the damage?
And where do you think, so does this, I mean, obviously the draft in full is a little bit off. Was it their opening? You liked the Grimstroke, which is fine.
Is fine.
So where do you think it went downhill?
Axe is fine. I think
even Ogre, you fine with that Ogre 3rd pick? Was it the last 2 cores maybe? Or do you not like the Ogre either?
The Ogre can be fine, but your carry has to be different.
Yeah.
Because Void is a hero that has teamfight early with the Chronosphere, but he doesn't really have damage until way later when he has like 3 or 4 items.
Yeah.
And there needs to be a little more balance in your draft. You need to have early game and late game.
And yeah, it didn't feel like they did have that. And Liquid, they look clean. They looked like, as you said, they did play Secret. Obviously, you know, not the worst slots. Viking GG as well. And they look like they're back on track a little bit. They are going up against Gambit, who has been struggling. Obviously, when you lose your coach captain, right? That kind of, or maybe coach drafter, I should say. It kind of just stings, right? You lose probably a lot of the time you worked up for with FNG moving to Alliance. So what do you want to just see switched up? Just the cores in the drafting phase, or just completely wipe the slate, new strategy again?
I think maybe they let GPK draft. I mean, he seems like the best player on the team. Let's just see if he can strategically, you know, bring them to the next level. Because I mean, it's not like he doesn't have opinions and things to say.
So maybe just, honestly, I know you kind of said it with a laugh, but sometimes if you are 0-5, it's time to just make a drastic change, right? And that could be it. Who knows? But guess what? DHL, you see them right here. Send us your stories. Gamers unite indeed. And guys, we just gotta wait. You know, we're all staying at home. We're all watching Dota, so make sure to visit it. You see the link right down there below. But guess what? Game 1 ended. It was a quick one. But game number 2, it is right around the corner. Can Gambit, can they get their first win? Liquid just did, or will Liquid convincingly 2-0 them? Well, you'll have to find out after the break. Liquid versus Gambit.
Are you missing the spectacular crowd and experience that ESL One Birmingham delivered the past years? Let's make this online event just as awesome. Share your ESL One story and send it our way. This can be a memory of a past event or a glimpse into your current home arena. We even provide the DHL drop sign as a digital version. Watch out to find your story featured in the broadcast and win prizes worth up to 1,000 euros. Gamers unite, now more than ever.
We rise up from the dust and claim our throne.
My name is Jordan Gilbert, aka Nothing.
Hi, my name is Sue Lee. My handle is Smix. I think it's important for these initiatives to happen. Empathy really, really goes a long way, and it always means so much to us, and I think that's where initiatives like this really help.
I encourage everyone in the community, anytime they see bullying, anytime they see someone getting called names, or I encourage you to step up and say something.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
Multiple witnesses have reported mysterious shadow sightings all around the city. According to experts, the origin of these shadows is still unclear.
Everybody loves an underdog. Who needs to be liked?
Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
So gone, miserable. Won't you stick around just for some be visible? But you don't know, you don't care. Leave me to suffer, erase all the doubt. Pouring Jack in my mouth, in love with enough of the pain and the drugs to be present for now. All I might know, I don't wanna wake up messed up, 'cause I can't spend another day like this. Another type of caked up breakup, where I've been finding any way to my fix. But I need you now, 'cause I don't wanna be around. No, I don't wanna wake up messed up. There's gotta be another way past this. I fell apart when I saw you look at me that way. It broke my heart to see. It was a moment of darkness, a moment in time that I regret for being so heartless. It was a moment of, a moment of, a moment of darkness. Moment of darkness. I fell apart when I saw you look at me that way. It broke my heart to see. It's too hard, it don't come easy. I went dark, I lost it right away. And when it starts, God knows what I'll say. In my head, I had good reason. I went red so unexpectedly. I should have said that sometimes happens to me. It was a moment of darkness, a moment in time.
ESL One is brought to you in part by Intel, Mercedes-Benz, GG-Bat, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, and DHL.
Indeed. Never give up, never surrender, as the song just said. And this Liquid team, they did indeed do that as they get their first win. And it was a very convincing win. It wasn't a, back and forth, we're going to do it. They kind of just, made it through the lanes with their Visage, as we talked about, and then they just dominated around the map. Which means on the other side, Gambit, you're 0-5. You need to get a win. We already discussed a little bit of what might need to happen, but it does sound like, after those first 2 picks, we just need to work on the draft a little bit. Because these guys are good players. We've been talking up GPK. We saw he went on a killing spree that game. The problem was, where's the rest of his team during it?
They had some decent drafts in their other games yesterday and the day before.
Yeah.
But this one was just a little bit off.
Yeah. As you said, you got 10th pick. And a curious question is, why are we seeing so many of these quote-unquote cheese picks right now compared to even in Dota Pit? We saw 2 Huskars yesterday, a Broodmother, and now we just saw Visage. Is there a certain reason? Nothing's changed in the pick order for 2 months.
I think it's kind of a coincidence almost, but if part of your draft can't deal with summons or push, it makes all of the heroes that you just mentioned really, really good as the last pick.
Okay.
And especially some of them are pretty strong 1v1 mid laners. If they don't have when you pick something like Storm, it kind of opens up the mid lane pool quite a lot.
Because he's not a lane dominator, so you can get away with some greedy?
Yeah, exactly. Not as much as something like Death Prophet or Shadow Fiend or something like that.
And reasonably the same bans here. I believe DK was banned on one side. We'll see if that one goes away again. Tusk was left in the pool. Grimstroke still in it as well.
Ember was utilized very well by Team Liquid with the Coddle last game. So they banned the Coddle this time. Yes, when I was drafting, it's you either ban... Sometimes we would leave Coddle, but we would ban Ember and Bristle. Because we were just we don't mind giving up Coddle, but we're not going to play against both. And then the second phase, we kind of felt like we had to ban Dusa. And then at a certain point, we're like, maybe we should just ban the Coddle. Yeah. Right?
Instead of those 3, ban one.
Exactly. But we liked playing Ricky up against Coddle. So we were just go ahead and take your Coddle, and we'll kill him.
Why? Did you like playing Ricky against Coddle? Just...
all
its movement.
Ricky just jumps around and chases people. And
Are you surprised we don't see him more? I thought he was pretty... I mean, he was really big last year, right? The Grimstroke Ricky was huge. And even just Ricky by himself. And this tournament, I have only seen it once, I believe.
Yeah, I think he's good. We saw Viking GG play it with the Grimstroke, right? It was just super strong. I think he does need a little bit of help in lane, especially his first couple levels before he gets points in Backstab and Pounce, right? He could be a little bit weak.
He's definitely one. I think to me the hero's issue is just that he's kind of one-dimensional in that he's just designed to kill other enemy heroes. He doesn't farm that well. He doesn't push out lanes. He's as far as your normal typical carries go, he doesn't actually tick a lot of the common boxes.
Yeah.
But when you pair him with a Grimstroke, suddenly he's got a bit more team fight. Suddenly it's a Ricky has an AoE stun.
Sure.
And does a lot more.
It's definitely a really active carry.
Yeah.
More so than a lot of the other hard carries that we've seen.
Have to move around the map. And, well, you brought up Earthshaker a little bit last time. They're going to first pick it here on Gambit's side.
Nice. I love Earthshaker. What a fun hero.
You love him in the concept of you just like him as a hero and in Dota? Or
I like him.
Well, you like him?
Dota.
Yeah, like that. No, why do you think it's an okay first pick, though? It doesn't really give away too much?
Yeah, I think he's super solid. I think he always helps your offlane, right? Worst case scenario, you can just fissure block. He's a really great hero to buy boots first with, so you can just go pull the wave if you need to. Yep. They're on Radiant, so pulling as Radiant in the offlane is really good because you can bring the creeps in between the towers and deny a full wave if they're not paying attention to it.
Oh.
But Liquid here on meta, getting that Rubik to counter the Shaker, and Ember Spirit just as a flex, whatever hero.
Yeah.
Mid / carry /
4 if you want, since I play 5 Rubik.
Maybe Boxy plays. I don't know.
Yeah. He definitely did. Boxy has played it before. And you talked, bringing back to the creep cutting, you talked about last game. You thought Blizzy would do it a lot earlier, right? On that axe, you were a little surprised he didn't. He got first blooded, right?
Yeah, I remember I played a particular game with Blizzy where it's, he ended up dying on the axe, kind of like first blood situation, which lets the carry. What it ends up doing is it gives the Caudle a game. If he goes and cuts after the first or even like just goes for the second wave, then Caudle is faced with the difficult decision is, do I want to run around and right-click the axe and chase him, which you're probably not going to do that much. And once the axe gets level 2 and he puts Battle Hunger on you, then you're going to be in a really bad spot because there's going to be a Grimstroke and an axe there. Or his other option is, I'm just going to go sit in lane and soak experience from my Ember Spirit who's just free farming underneath the tower.
Yeah.
So he's not really doing anything. But when you sit there and you try and play the lane against him, you're giving Caudle a game. When otherwise, that's kind of why you pick the axe after you see the Caudle, because you know Caudle can't do anything to stop you from doing what axes love to do.
Yeah, gotcha. And there's the Monkey King, first phased. They see one core in the Ember, and they just decide to scoop it up, and ooh, there's Avenge.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's some hipster stuff.
Yeah, we've seen it as a 5 and a 3.
I saw Viking GG plays it as a core. We saw it the other day. It worked out super well. They actually played it twice last night up against Liquid. And I think they won. I know they won at least one of the games, obviously. I'm not sure if they won the second one with it. It was a. No, wait, it was a 2-0.
Yeah, it was a 2-0. They won both if they played it twice.
Yeah, I guess they did. They won both games with Venge last night. I think they played Venge support and Venge core against them. So, Insania taking a page from Viking here, potentially.
Yeah, I think they see this monkey and they just address it with a support pick. You know, theoretically, you can swap him out of the Wukong's command. You get vision over the trees with the Wave of Terror, so...
It's okay. Ember alone... Secret loves Monkey King, and I was at a point in my drafting where I also loved Monkey King. And if you can match him up against the Ember, it can be good. But you just don't want to rely on Monkey King to be like your scaling carry in the game. You're going to need something to supplement it.
And then the CIS Classic, the Disruptor. AoE Disable, the Bring Back, some Vision as well.
Yeah, Venge can swap people out of the
Kinetic
Field, Static Storm.
Well, who do you like? Whose draft do you like? We see 3 heroes on each side. This feels like right before we're getting the big cores. Does either of the openings feel a little bit better to you?
I like Liquid so far. The one thing that I would worry about their draft is they are playing up. Actually, no, I really like Liquid. Their safe lane, I was worried because they had Vengeful Spirit potentially as a 5.
Yeah.
Venge Ember seems like a pretty weak lane, but Gambit has an Earthshaker, so Earthshaker doesn't really contribute.
Just as weak, yeah.
Yeah, it's just as weak. It doesn't contribute a lot to the off lane.
Kind of pick like any 5. Most carries can play against the Shaker lane.
Yeah, unless they put Shaker as a 3. And then do like Disruptor 4, you just like spams them, or get a new 4.
Yeah.
And you can put pressure on them that way. But Shaker as a 4 is not going to be pressuring this lane, which kind of makes Venge a cool pick because it's like
it goes unpunished.
It's a pretty greedy 5.
Liquid, they're going to take some time here for this pick. Got to show another core, unless it is the Venge off lane or something like that. Doesn't feel like it is though.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him just pick an offlaner here.
They do.
Yeah.
Beastmaster.
Beast.
Is he
Lot of auras.
good versus Monkey King? Is his boars just like keep the Monkey King off of him? Or
Levels 1 and 2 are pretty tough, but once you get level 3, I think the boars are really good.
Fine.
And in the game, you have the Flying Vision, you've got Roar.
They've got a lot of that vision like you guys talked about against the Monkey King. They just go Timbersaw. All right. Last time we saw Timbersaw Monkey King in the last ESL, the Timbersaw ended up self-stunning the Monkey King. I counted 7 times on his own team. And I mean, that's a big difference. Like, it was rough. Like, it actually is anti-synergy. I was counting. It's rough. Man, this Monkey King. And that's why we see teams, right? You do sometimes have to first pick a core. You don't want to give someone else up. And now that Monkey King feels pretty hard countered right now. In the game.
Every time Timber cuts Monkey King out of a tree, you're going to take a little shot of game fuel.
Yep, I will. I just come in. Whoa, my goodness, welcome back, everyone. This is but the Timbersaw, you don't have that much damage against him, right? You probably have the Ember Spirit who is going that Spirit Vessel maybe, but you don't really have burst damage right now for that Timber.
Well, I think Rubik is pretty good damage.
Okay.
You also can steal a ton of good spells from Timbersaw, and the Ember Spirit is a natural Spirit Vessel carrier, so think it's part of the reason why we haven't seen as much Timbersaw recently as we were seeing like a patch or two ago.
When it was getting first picked for his band. Yeah.
People figure out, oh, we just really need to rush Spirit Vessel on whatever core can get it, and we can actually deal with them.
You guys like the new Spirit Vessel with like the passive being added? Was that it was a buff, right? A mini buff?
They nerfed the active.
Yeah, they nerfed the active and then
right?
buffed it. That's why I was like, I didn't know if it was a mini buff or a mini nerf, or if it just doesn't really matter that much.
I don't really know.
Yeah. Not a numbers guy.
I don't even know what the change was.
They made it so like the passive is 20% healing reduction now, right? But the active they've reduced by like 10% when you use it on someone.
Wait, so how is it a passive?
It has an aura.
It has an aura. It's a passive aura now. 20% healing reduction around them.
So what's is the total reduction less?
I believe so.
I don't know the math on it.
Yeah.
I'll get the numbers.
We're just casters, man.
Yeah.
Like, we sometimes play
we don't
Dota.
do the numbers. We don't crunch the numbers.
No, okay.
We need Purge for that. That's his specialty.
I always thought the strength of Spirit Vessel, or the weakness of Spirit Vessel, is that it wasn't active, or like something you had to cast on something,
And you
then
can get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. They could remove it. So it, maybe a little bit just more of a balanced item overall.
In general. Because everyone was buying it, right? It feels like every game it's gone that route of when an item gets good, if your team doesn't have it, you're doing something wrong.
But then if you use Spirit Vessel on somebody and they have like a Dispel, right, then you're just like, don't even buy the Spirit Vessel.
Yeah.
There's no point.
And Timbersaw, right, almost always goes for a second item removal, right? Whether it's Greaves or Lotus.
Or Yules.
Or Yules, yeah. First item, actually, yeah, let me say it. See, last picks on both teams. Neither side has shown their, I want to say their win condition. As you said, Monkey King, he's not your overarching, like, he doesn't want to be that main scaler.
Yeah. What Ember Spirit really hates is high physical damage burst, which is kind of what you get with the Monkey King. Less so, obviously less so the Timbersaw.
Yeah.
But they banned Troll, who could lock him down if he gets on
Visage
top
ban.
of him. The Visage ban, of course.
You know they're in the head. They're in their head.
I
Now,
would
you
say-
last ban a Visage.
when
oh.
you got Timbersaw and
Yeah,
you're
I
banning
think,
Visage.
I think Timbersaw goes mid against Visage, and I think this is not a lane.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm just like, what are they banning Visage for? They're in. I mean, Visage with Venge Beast is pretty insane.
That is push.
A little PTSD after the last game, I guess.
It feels that way.
Although I mean, like we said, I don't think Visage was really the problem. I think the problem was more so on their side of the field.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's the Void Spirit.
Okay.
So you got your mover, you got your roamer, the guy who wants. I mean, it feels like Monkey and Void want to just
super
active.
Yeah, super active lineup here from the Gambit boys.
Got some low cooldown stun on the Disruptor, or sorry, on the Earthshaker Disruptor. Just spams abilities.
Yeah.
What's the last pay? It's an SF. All right.
Shadow Fiend. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Very good against all three of their cores, and that's kind of the issue with Gambit's cores here. They pick 3 melee guys, and they suffer against heroes that punish melees, and Shadow Fiend is one of those. So
This sounds like a lot like game number 1, and where we're going with this. Do you think Liquid just has quite a bit better draft?
Rune control for the mid laner, Void Spirit on GPK. I think if he can get some runes and get some stuff done in the early game, I think that they'll be in a much better place than the previous one.
I think the other nice thing is you've got like supports like Shaker can be kind of active and maybe throw a wrench in quick this game mid. So there's
Definitely.
Gambit has a much better draft. Like it's not like they've just straight up been out drafted, but it's going to be tough. They need to address this Shadow Fiend in some way.
Yeah. So where would you? When does Gambit? When do they need to like win this game? Is it in the lanes, or is it, as you said, Peter? Is it all on this Void Spirit to have like not even a decent middle, just get the runes and save the other lanes?
Liquid will group up at some point and look for a pick-off into Roshan, and I think that team fight is where Gambit needs to be ready to fight, and I think if they can delay that till Shaker has a Blink Dagger, it'll be much better for them.
Should be. So will a Gambit get their first win? That is the question. Or will Liquid, will they get that 2-0? We have a Vengeful Spirit on one side, which we've been seeing a little bit more. On the other side, we've got a Timbersaw, which we have been seeing less, but it does sound like our panelists here are still favoring Liquid a bit, but, it's good to see ways Gambit can win. Is there a chance we see a 0 and a no-win team this tournament? Is Gambit, does that feel like there's a possibility of it?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
You never want to see it, right? Even if you don't like the team, you never truly want to see it.
It's kind of hard to watch, right?
It is. Like, you're just like, some people enjoy I enjoy best of ones because people get eliminated, but that's a little different. You had a lot of time to win this game, but you didn't. But that is going to be the draft for game number 2. Liquid versus Gambit. Will they go 0-6? Will they get that 1 win? Will it be a best of 3 or will it end at 2 games? We'll have to find out with Coddle Guy and Cap.
Thank you very much, Grant. Cappy posts a lot of questions there. I don't know if I can answer them all at once because he just keeps yelling at me. I don't know what he's talking about.
Pull out my notepad of all those questions Grant asked us.
But I know they remember, we don't like to see any team go without a win at all. Maybe Gambit can finally get a win on the column. Obviously, the favorite's still looking like that it's going to be Liquid in this one according to the GG bet odds. Can they do it with this draft, Cap? I feel like they may have committed a little early for the Monkey King. They got a lot of melee going on here. You know, is it as simple as Peter says? Like, GPK needs to have a nice, solid laning phase, and they can ride those coattails into a successful, action-packed mid-game?
Can they do it? Yes, absolutely. I am still pretty pessimistic, though not nearly as badly as Game 1. Game 1 felt like the game was over. As soon as like the laning phase wasn't dominated by Gambit, then they were just naturally going to go into a big game that they couldn't contest. So this game's already starting out okay. Liquid smoked up and ran around looking for an early first blood. Didn't find it. And now pushing forward for the bounties. But Gambit is a lot more capable of defending bounties compared to last game.
It feels, though, with this lineup that Liquid have put together, it could be a lot more volatile for Gambit. Let's say if the laning phase doesn't work out, you know, do Liquid have potential to just really mow them over? Look at these auras that they're dealing. You have Beastmaster, you have Venge. I mean, technically, Shadow Fiend has an aura they can bring to the table. It feels like if they get what they want through the laning phase, they could just start taking towers, taking Roche, and then this game could be over sooner than later.
Yeah, it's a good SF game, and Liquid are running one of my favorite strategies, which is damage amplification auras with SF or Medusa. I feel like both of those heroes really thrive when you have like the attack speed aura from the Beastmaster or minus armor that you're able to apply onto people. This is going to be a devastatingly strong SF. So Gambit definitely need to be able to stack up on armor items because I'm anticipating Koifa to be going sort of a right-click build. And they need to be able to gank this SF a couple times, especially since GPK is already going to have a bit of a hard lane. Any sort of melee matchup where you are just susceptible to race stacking is going to be a bit difficult.
We're seeing again as they battle over the outposts at the top, Insania staying far and away from the lane so that his lane partner, Mickey, can get that solo XP burst on the Ember Spirit. Trying to just get, you know, up in the hair of this Earthshaker. But Earthshaker also Vampire, stepping away from the lane, and just kind of eyeballs this mid lane Quakefa a bit. And it was something else Peter called in the laning phase. They need to have the assistance, certainly around the rune spawns, to give GPK as, you know, comfortable of a time as possible in this mid lane.
Yeah, speaking to the support experience, it's really important. Like, sometimes your carriers will complain, like, oh, why aren't you in lane more or whatever. But if you know you can't have an impact on the lane, just don't be there in experience range. Like, the shorter amount of time your carry has to be in lane, if it's a bad lane, just let him get the solo experience, let him get to level 5 or level 6 or whatever point he's able to go off and jungle or start making rotations and just like limit that amount of time as much as possible. And against Timbersaw, against, you know, for example, this Ember Spirit, he can't actually pressure that hero that much. So Insania is mostly going to be focusing on getting experience from pulling more than anything else.
Yeah, a lot about what these supports are going to be doing with their time, that they're stepping away from the lanes, making some stacks, making some side pulls, threatening the mid lane. You know, Insania kind of going with the route you talked about, you know, finding those pulls on the side, getting a little bit of XP, while Earthshaker is looking for maybe a kill opportunity in the mid lane. Am I missing some hype musical chairs action?
Yeah.
What is happening right now?
So I have not played any of these games, but I'm assuming it's just straight up musical chairs where it's just whoever clicks
last on the spot, I suppose. will pick up 3. There's like 3 or 4 new mini games to play during the pause. I appreciate the effort because sometimes pauses can feel very stale. But
yeah,
no fun and games here. Let's get back to the action, it looks like.
It's one of the best things about the Battle Pass is it does bring more personality and entertainment to the games that are going on.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, the spamming of the chat wheel can get a little annoying to cast over, but for the most part, it's more of a benefit.
I like how Valve's like, well, tell you what we'll do is we'll just have the octave continue to go up when they spam it. Yeah. So it's a little more fearful and crazy instead of
really
just
encouraging
repeating.
teams to double down on just all having the same ones.
Absolutely. Still support battles here happening on the side. Solo XP from all fronts. The CS game looking really nice, certainly for Monkey King. 17 CS for Dream here, going to Boxy's 8 on the Beastmaster as he continues to eat these Thunder Strikes on the bottom
GPK
lane.
is owning mid lane. He's so far ahead in CS. I imagine that level 5 is really tough with the level 3 shot arrays. Each hit doing 230 damage. You get hit by 2 of them, that's like 600 damage almost, thanks to the stacking. But he's doing really well in CS initially. And if level 5 is hard, it doesn't really matter too much because as soon as you get your level 6, you can start rotating around the map if you want and give mid to somebody like the Disruptor or Earthshaker who could use the experience.
Oh, rotation to the bottom. They glimpse back Taiga, and Vampire rotated in for this setup. Gets that fissure. Can they clean their plate, though? Taiga tries to fend it off with the one, but they finish him off. They put the bounty on him, too, and pick it up.
Nice.
Dang, got to get those extra points, baby.
Okay, so things are going really well. GPK overplaying mid, I think. The Timbersaw matchup, that's just free for Blizzy, and then they just got a kill in bottom lane. It's going quite well for them. Yeah, Monkey King is top CS, too. This is looking really good for Gambit so far.
GPK, a friendly tip to Insania, letting him know, I see you coming to this mid lane. Don't try any funny business here. Insania will have to take his business back towards the top half of the map for setups there, still leaving Mickey to the top lane on his own so they can each be winning in their own right. But, Mickey, big breadwinner, 29 CS to his name while Timber's at 19.
Yeah, that's a little bit surprising that Blizzy has missed some CS because he can always just go behind the wave if he wants to get perfect CS.
Sorry to interrupt. We got a little trouble for Taiga here at the bottom. A jump in as they hold it off for GPK, and he does get the last hit. And now 2-0 for Gambit. Really nice early game starting to build together for them.
Yeah, surprising rotation this early, but I guess he found a haste rune. Though it shouldn't have been surprising for Liquid since they did have a ward over that rune area.
You're right. They did. They certainly should have known it was coming, or at least were not paying attention in that moment. And now it's 5-minute bounty time. And it clearly looks like Gambit are going to maintain control of the bottom 2 bounties. We see Liquid on the move towards the northern half. They'll be scanned out. And it'll be 2 apiece, it looks like here.
So I played this matchup in the bottom lane before. Number of times, Beastmaster versus Monkey King. And it is a winning matchup for Monkey King early on. Unless somehow Beastmaster gets ahead and gets to like level 3 boars, that's when you really start feeling strong.
Here they make the move onto Dreamer. Rotations in. Nice fissure block. Keeps the backstaff at bay, and they will not be able to pursue. Good interjection right there. And Gambit fend off any pressure from Liquid. Liquid getting some work through this laning phase, but they're losing on the CS front on different sides of the map, and as they try to get a bit frisky now to make some maybe early kill objectives happen, they're falling a bit short.
Yeah, their support duo is not this duo isn't very strong when it comes to rotating around, right? It's a limited amount of damage, it's okay disables, but mostly single target. They really aren't having the impact I think they're looking for to be able to offset such a nice triple raise from Koifa. That was quite good.
A battle over the runes, and Koifa is going to be able to get a good shoot down right there, and it will secure Liquid's first kill this game so far. You see Blizzy being the lawnmower here through a massive wave and neutral camp stack. He could be that snowbally hero that could suddenly just shine through the mid game. You do not want to sleep on your Timbersaws here, as he's building up for the Arcanes next. Still no call to action for him, but he'll always have those TPs in his pocket when necessary.
I can see one of the biggest issues here for Liquid is the fact that their hero that can change how this game is going right now, who can move around the map and gank, is their Ember Spirit. but he's also the best hero to be able to put a stop to the Timbersaw pushing, right? Beastmaster can't really do it at all. He really suffers against Timbersaw, and SF I just don't think wants to be in that lane that is very exposed. You're kind of on an island when you're up there in the safe lane tier 1 tower. It's so separated from everything else that it's very easy to get ganked. Simple smoke, wrap around behind the tower. Will just leave you dead every single time. So they don't really have somebody to go up there. As a result, Mickey, I think he feels like he's going to have to sit here in this top lane for a bit, which just means that bottom lane is going to suffer more, and there's free rotations in the
Suffering in the bottom lane, as you say it. A good jump in and a great block again onto Boxy from that Earthshaker Fissure. Allows GPK to move in there and get the clean kill. And they backpedal a bit, but a good strike on their front. And yeah, what you're talking about with Mickey in this top lane, it is, you know, it's kind of works out to his benefit. Maybe he's able to build forward into getting a Spirit Vessel that much sooner. And so whatever the Timbersaw is even able to build up for himself, he'll have an answer for it. So this Whack and Meepo is happening right now.
Very fun. We had some sort of bug because 5 different people of the players got disconnected. I got disconnected as well. So.
Oh, no. Oh, does this game do this the whole time during the pause? That's funny.
All right, that is going to get old at some point in time. Hearing him say, Meepo, over and over and over again. I could do without that.
Yeah, how long before the...
there's a mute button. See, Valve think of everything.
Valve do think ahead.
God bless you. God bless you, Valve.
All right, obviously some new little kinks to be worked out from the battle pass. Hopefully nothing too detrimental. As I also got disconnected in the last game, I remember too. So sometimes lightning strikes in certain directions, I guess. As we have the go call, we'll get back into it. Get these meepos off my screen. Thank you. As we get back underway. Pressure was coming out through that bottom tower from Gambit's side after a successful pickoff, but they're not going to really follow through, it looks like, for now. On making a push happen. A double wave is coming the direction, but you know, I guess without the catapults and such, they need a little bit more to be able to get these kind of objectives done.
I believe the game plan from Liquid right now is just to hold and say, okay, the laning phase is going to be rough, like especially for this bottom lane. It sucks, but Mickey, he needs time to be able to, like, he's just going to be cutting waves against this Timbersaw because he can do that to slow him down. Once he has like Spirit Vessel, then we can hit like a really good early to mid game stride, right? Like at like 15 minutes, the Timber Spirit will be a monster. He'll be very effective against all of these heroes. Like with Spirit Vessel, he's really good against both Monkey King and Timbersaw. So that is our time to change the game. But right now, it's just try and concede as few losses as possible. Let Koifa just play his time in the jungle. Let Mickey play up top lane and continue free farming. The supports and Boxy, they don't have a game, but we don't really have a great way to change that right now.
I
so
mean,
just deal with it.
And when it gets to the point when they can actually go on the offensive, or if they get a good turnaround on the defensive and they happen to be there as a living witness, get the benefit of that XP, I guess, and try to get yourself back into the game. You know, a great win condition and possible road to glory for Liquid there. On the other side, though, is Gambit, who have put themselves into a good early game position. And, you know, we got to question it is what is there going to be objectives for them at this point. Mickey kind of up in arms with GPK. Gambit putting a little bit focus towards the northern half of the map now. They've been putting a lot of pressure towards Koikva and certainly on the southern half. But for the first time now, you know, Blizzy adventuring away from the top lane a bit and GPK putting his attention up here could force Mickey to kind of look elsewhere now for some farm.
Yeah, I think they wanted to flush Mickey out so they can get a nice push going in the top lane and Timbersaw can take that tower bit by bit. They are going to kill Insani here. Again, it's the Liquid side. It's supports and off lane. You're probably used to this. It's just like, your game is going to be bad. Suck it up. Okay? You're just going to have to deal with some losses and not be able to get any kills for a while. That's just the way it's going to be. I think the other game plan for Gambit here is that, like, once they have level 6 on Disruptor, I think shutting down the Ember Spirit would be a really big play. Wherever he's farming up, if they can stall out this Spirit Vessel 1 or 2 minutes, it's pretty big because usually Spirit Vessel comes online before the Timbersaw has his Dispel item. And that is still a major factor, right? Even though they changed it into an aura where like 20% of it goes into this aura, and then the other 35% comes from the active. It's still really important to have a dispel item.
Oh, absolutely.
Because not only is it just about the 35% heal reduction, but it's also about the 4% per second of current health damage that is happening from the active. Because Timbersaw has relatively high HP, so it really makes you a lot squishier. So if they can stall the Spirit Vessel a bit, then that'll allow Timbersaw to be able to kind of close that gap where he's kind of exposed. He gets some sort of Dispel item, Lotus Orb, Guardian Greaves, Eul Scepter, something like that, and then he goes back to being this unkillable monster that they can play around.
Yeah, there was a bit of a deliberation on the panel about Spirit Vessel, and is it a micro buff? Is it micro nerf? I mean, I am for the side that it certainly feels like it's more of a micro buff, if anything. It goes from a position like Peter was talking about, where if you just have one of those ways to just kind of, purge away the Spirit Vessel, then it feels kind of useless. But at least for now, it has that aura. It has a little bit of something you can't dispel, and it'll always have an impact in a fight. The numbers don't equal out the same once you put the active on there, but, I'd say at least having that aura is better than nothing.
Yeah, and that's just on a single hero, right? In a full-out team fight, you have 20% across everybody, right? So I think it is a pretty big buff, but it's also to offset the nerfs that have happened to it, right? So there have been a couple of nerfs. First of all, they took away the Windlace, but still kept the current cost. So it still is expensive, but they just took away that movement speed. And then on top of that, it used to be 70%. Heal reduction when it was the old active. Then they nerfed it to 60%, and then they changed it, splitting up the heal reduction and where it's affected. So I think Spirit Vessel is still in like a pretty good place right now. I mean, you're seeing all of these like any of the Spirit heroes, basically. Void Spirit and Ember Spirit, they both really like building Spirit Vessel because it just feels really nice, especially in this current meta where there are a lot of heroes that are exposed to it. Like, obviously, you need it in any Timbersaw game, but there's a lot of strength heroes like DK who are very popular that you need that item for.
It almost feels like it's a mandatory item almost in every game, just with how many meta heroes have heavy regen. You already mentioned those two. I know Necro's like another one.
Yeah.
You might have an Alchemist game suddenly on your hands.
Death Prophet.
Bristleback was the thing
Bristleback,
before.
yeah.
Like, there's always a hero on one team. It feels like that. There's a good idea to get a Spirit Vessel. Maybe a little higher priority that you need to get it on a core hero like your Ember. Maybe a little less on a 4 position on another game, but it's one of those kind of items that it's going to be every game.
So I don't think the panel addressed Vengeful Spirit completely, but Peter did mention Insania is a bit of a hipster. He likes being able to come up with new things when it comes to Dota, and I think this Vengeful Spirit might be something that they feel, because Viking GG loved this hero.
Yeah.
And they just lost to Viking GG, in which case they drafted Venge twice. So Insania might be saying, this hero's not too bad, let's try it out.
Okay, Taiga tries to bait him to the high ground so that Quakefoot can raise them down, and it will be a trade both sides. Both mid laners get a piece of that one. And, oh, man.
I was about to say, I was like, man, I just cannot seem to stay in the game. Well, apparently, neither can some of the Liquid members.
Oh, no, what is happening?
This has definitely been the roughest rollout of the Battle Pass. Really big. It's a great Battle Pass.
The biggest, I've heard.
But it's apparently the biggest patch that we've had.
That's what I've heard as well. The biggest
Which I'm
patch.
surprised it was bigger than 7.0, but I guess purely content-wise, just pure memory. It's going to be really big for a Battle Pass type situation, so... Little things like, I'm sure, like this mini game during the pauses are
they had the new versus screen. Now, I swear, dude, last night I had a brief opportunity to kind of check out, get my Battle Pass levels or whatever, and then try to just pub watch a couple of games to see some of the new stuff.
Sure.
And I hopped into a game as it was loading, and it showed the new versus screen, and then I heard some of the players' voice chat as a spectator.
Oh, I think you tweeted out something
about
about that.
I definitely heard voice chat.
I would not be surprised.
I'm not in a Discord or anything.
It would not be. I mean, even without the Battle Pass, we've had things like that happen before, right? Where the players are like, we can hear the casters right now.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was a freaky thing. I don't know if it was a feature that Valve said, yeah, we'll give the teams the opportunity to just smack talk.
Dude, I would love that. I think that would be so hype.
But for the most part, I doubt players would be aware and they could suddenly say something they regret. Like, let's beat the hell out of these guys, but to a much more vulgar degree.
Yes, players do use some colorful and not necessarily PC language when they're talking Dota to each other. So
they just get very serious about the game. It's all love after, but Not loving the pauses here, unfortunately, as it seems to be still some disconnection issues here.
What are the heroes you've been rocking lately, Dakota, when you've been playing Dota?
Tree, I mentioned before, has been something I was intrigued by watching Dubu play it a lot. And
Okay.
I'm like, I'm going to fart around with this Q ability a bit and see how good it can be.
Hey, you might be
And,
onto something, too.
yeah.
If you think it's strong, I know China is running it right now, and it's actually in that first pick, first ban territory for
Right.
some of the teams. So they might know something that some of the other regions don't.
I realized I was not using the benefit of his nature's guys appropriately. I didn't know it's like once you're in the tree, like even if you take damage, you're still going to be in the tree and you're still
Yeah.
going to be getting all that regen. I didn't know. So it's like you mainly just have one arm on the tree and the other arm punching them in the lane at one point.
It makes him an incredible tower defender because he's very hard to lock down. And you need very specific heroes to make it a lot easier, like Disruptor, for example, where Kinetic Field can hold him in an area and you get vision of him without him running away. His Nature's Grasp, that big AoE spell that he has, is really good for, it doesn't do the most amount of damage, but it's great for being able to slow down a creep wave as it approaches a tower. And then obviously Living Armor has always been good. So any sort of tree game, you just become like this solo tower defender and you always have a tower advantage, which allows your team to play 4 versus 5 really effectively because they should have a net worth lead.
I love my tree talk, but we're seeing Monkey King go down as we have action once again. Hopefully we get to keep it going. A nice successful rotation all the way through from Liquid to the top to get the jump onto Dream. Gambit, we're kind of sweeping in from behind, but don't quite follow through as they don't make it in time to really make an impact in that one. They'll wait for the return of the Monkey King and probably give it another try. But, man, as you can see, we are going through a serious set of disconnections.
Hey, this is the first disconnection I've lived through, so I'm finally staying in the game for once.
All right, so you asked me, Treon Protector, something I'm farting around with my schleppy bracket. What about you? Any new heroes you're kind of... I know you're doing the techies.
Yes, so all the 4 positions that... let's try not voice lining might be the reason. Good call.
Yeah, don't try any of the new Battle Pass stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Those features are also very oftentimes bugs. All those 4 positions that are kind of unusual that have been popping up in the meta, I finally broke down and was like, okay, I really got to play some of these heroes just to be able to be a little bit more informed in them. Zayat's really inspired me for ESL 1 LA, so I wanted to be able to play techies because when I watched him play techies, I was like, that's a techies I want to play.
Yeah.
You know, like when I watched Sir Action Slacks, play techies and he's sitting at his base, for an hour and a half talking about just let him go high ground points. I'm like, no, I don't want to play that at all. But Zayat's is aggressive. He's using a suicide pretty much off cooldown. And he plays with his team and backing them up with the mines. And I said, that's really cool. Weaver and Sniper have both been really big, and I understood Weaver pretty well, but there was little things that I didn't quite get. Like, as a 4-position Weaver, you actually are able to farm really quickly thanks to Swarm and Shukuchi. I did not realize it was that effective.
Oh, I would imagine so. And it's always nice to have scaling 4s that can make an impact later on.
Yeah.
And Weaver felt like he had just such a good spot with what the meta was when you have stuff like Coddle and these big white balls you could shoot down, or Tombstone's Phoenix Eggs. And here we see nice catch, grab onto Earthshaker, pull back there from Liquid. Taiga could pay the price for it, and it looks like it is going to be a good response kill. The assault continues here from Gambit to take this mid-tier 1. Both teams going to try to not do too many voice lines or new Battle Pass tactics so that we don't have more disconnects. Hopefully that's going to be the case here.
So to get back into this game, basically what the move that Gambit has made is they were able to make enough space for Blizzy to take that top tower. And what I love, what he did next was not go, oh, look at me, I'm so strong, I'm going to keep running down that top lane and go for the tier 2. Instead, he rotated into mid. And I think that every Timbersaw, Centaur, that kind of hero, once you take the initial tower, you should always rotate into mid because of how important that tower is and how easy it is for you to pressure on both those heroes. So they put a little pressure there. They didn't finish off the tower by any means, but it did force Liquid to kind of group up and defend their middle lane. And now that just inherently buys a little bit of space for all of Gambit to spread out around the map. I'd like to see them make that play again, though, because if they could take away that tier 1 mid tower, it opens up them being able to invade into the triangle especially if they take away the tier 1 offlane tower, though that's far less important. Taking mid tower and invading that triangle is really good for being able to limit the farm of heroes like SF and Beastmaster. They really like Ancients.
I could not agree more. They bought a lot of space as they stepped away from that mid lane for the time being. Timber able to farm all the way through that bottom lane. And here they are, like you mentioned, back in the mid lane, looking to finish what they started, claim this big objective, this big middle tower access point from Liquid, take it away, and open up the map more for yourself.
Yeah, I'm not a terrible fan of, like, once they spread out, Liquid was just hardcore farming. You could see how far ahead Koifa is right now in net worth. It would be really concerning to me if they didn't finish off this tower in the next 2 minutes.
Okay, grab on the Koifa here, hit him with a Thunder Strike. Gambit bait him back a bit. Yo, why does Koifa have this bluish aura on him?
Yeah.
I'm not, like, what is that? It's like cool blue.
It was on Mickey last game too, though he had like a gold aura. So I have no clue what that is.
Well, fortunately, another set of disconnects here. I didn't see any new voice lines or anything of that nature. I'm not too sure. But unfortunately, the plague continues on this one. So with Gambit kind of getting Liquid's attention now towards this mid lane, you know, is it in Liquid's best interest to always be here to defend it as much as possible and with everybody at attendance, or should they be, you know, having some additional priorities? Like Boxy here in the bottom lane, he's going to try to exchange a tier 1, it looks like.
I think very often they will need almost everybody to defend. The SF is needed there to be able to 1-2 shot the creep wave. But Timbersaw can still tank for the rest of the heroes. So you need, first of all, somebody to be there to save the SF. So that's Insania with his swap, so he always kind of needs to be around. And then you need another hero to threaten anybody who follows the Timbersaw in when it comes to hitting the tower. Because Timbersaw by himself, his right-click damage is obviously very weak. So he's not going to take it super quickly. But if he's joined by +1, like a Void Spirit or something, then you want to be able to have a hero there that threatens that. So either Ember Spirit or Beastmaster. Boxy is currently busy pressuring the side lane. So I like that idea, as long as one of them is available to be around mid.
Get back underway. The pressure continues from Boxy in that bottom lane, and we'll see what kind of attention Gambit can get from Liquid here on their mid lane pressure, leaving Blizzy at the helm to move in. Now jumps for Taiga, gets stunned up. Follow for Mickey, going to be there. Fissure to stop Koifa in his tracks. Monkey King going to commit the ultimate. Dreams there behind, and they put some pressure onto Mickey. Koifa, isolated by the Disruptor, still can't really participate in this
Got
fight.
glimpsed still,
he is
too.
stuck inside the Monkey King ult. Finally glimpsed back. Now commits the Requiem. Pretty good damage onto Dream. Follow-up going to be there from Mickey.
Oh,
and
no!
Unfortunately, as we finally see our first team fight really begin to break out.
I was like, where's the follow-up here? Like, why is Boxy not, like, going in? They should just all commit to Dream right there. But, yeah, a very unfortunate disconnect.
Oh, this is unfortunate. I can imagine the players are going to be getting a bit more frustrated as this progresses if they can't even play the game appropriately.
Yeah, if they don't get this kill, then they're out of Spirit Vessel charges. And I have a feeling that maybe they won't, because Blizzy's going to be coming back in. Looks like Fissure is up in 2 seconds, and he still has Echo Slam. GPK has Ether Remnant.
Can just maybe get that swap back right there.
Yeah, maybe.
Boxy, yeah. Oh, boy, let's see if they can do it. They go for the swap. He sidesteps, but they finally finish him off. They'll get a couple of more charges to work with. The secondary swap's there. It's on the Timber. Even though Liquid do drop a couple during the skirmish, they come back in full force, are able to clean out another one and a fourth. Double kill for Insania. Double kill for Mickey.
I think that swap was like absolute max range. And if they don't get the swap, then they can't get the raises to be able to finish him off. If they don't get the raises, they don't get the Spirit Vessel. If they don't get the Spirit Vessel charges, they can't kill the Timbersaw.
Right?
So it all snowballs so heavily
if the game
off of whether or not that swap is in range.
And if that pause came just a few seconds late,
exactly,
you know, the range wouldn't have been there, and it could have been a different story. Crazy how things work out like that. It looks like Gambit will fend off at least the catapult pressure from this mid-tier 1 takedown. You know, Liquid not kind of going on full force there. Now the glowing is on Mickey. I really don't understand what I guess it's like their kill streak, maybe? That's what it is? I don't know. I'm so
Oh, yeah, that
by
might be it. because he's 3-0-2, so he's on a killing spree at least. I think they made a huge error here not focusing down Koifa when they had the opportunity.
Oh, yeah. It felt like only the Disruptor was kind of like keeping him at bay while they put most of their focus onto Mickey on the other side.
Yeah, Koifa is so much of their damage right now. He's the highest net worth hero as well. He's their carry. Ultimately, this is going to be the guy who outputs the most right-click damage later on.
Oh, big jump onto Mickey. Live action here. We don't quite catch it, but they swarm up to the high ground. They have the Static Storm combo, and Mickey is not going to be able to make it away, and the chase continues as they look to get the grab on Insania. Dream's able to get the connection. The follow-up's there, and it's a double kill the other direction now. GPK go back on the assault, head north into Liquid territory, and are successful in catching out Mickey.
It looks like they also ran back and took mid tower during that time as well. So Blizzy was able to claim that bounty. That was a really big move by them. I was a big concerned that they were going to lose their momentum, but they bring it right back with a nice smoke move, it looked like. Not 100% that was a smoke, but I assume so, the way they caught Mickey with the Disruptor.
For sure. They almost lose their mid lane just to a creep wave, but it just barely holds on here. They won't deny it quite yet, valuing that it's still going to kind of keep some pressure back in the meantime as they rotate through to this bottom lane here.
That's kind of interesting. GPA went for a maxed out Dissimulate build. I think there's two reasons you would want Dissimulate maxed out. One is because of the cooldown, so if you feel like there's a lot of things you could destroy, really good to have it on low cooldown.
He flexes it right now onto Taiga. Catches him out from the front. They set the bounty onto Ember here as they get Boxy here with the stun. He commits out the roar but loses his life shortly after. Liquid members now trailing in after the fact to see if they could scrape anything. They do manage to get a nice grab there onto Dream. The chase continues. Mickey on the prowl. Blizzy looks like the one they'll catch out. He's tanky though. They need those spirits. Vessel charges to do their
swap
work.
Still.
Swap back's there. There's the raise. They need a bit more. Not quite enough, but there they will get their finish. GPK not able to kind of fend them off, and just like we saw in the previous fight, Liquid or Gambit rather start off strong, but Liquid members roll in and clean out.
I didn't think about these other synergies with Venge, but she's so much stronger with SF than previously because of the race stacking. Like, Swap is just a perfect way to be able to get him like right in front of the SF. He just 1-2 races all the time. Same goes with Requiem with Souls, which it puts you feared for longer the closer you are to the SF. So this redirection that Venge is able to provide is really potent.
That's a good point. So Insania able to set up things nicely for Koifa on that front here. As we see, look at this, rotations from Gambit using that outpost in the top lane to jump all the way up to make the go for Taiga here. He's got the Yules, but here comes the response from Liquid. A glimpse to send them back, and they'll get the finish onto Taiga, but GBK's pretty low, has to hide within the trees. Can he find a pocket to make it out? Oh, the chains, and they got the vision. Nice grab there from Liquid. Gambit get a bit overexcited in that and not anticipate that Liquid would have such a big response team, it looks like, in that top lane.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to push this too hard. They're closing in on Lotus Orb, and they also just now picked up Blink Dagger on Earthshaker. If this was somebody like Secret, I feel like Secret would have waited for that time.
Yeah.
They're so good at reading their power spikes, and when they're super strong, they would have said like, okay, we're like 500 gold from some really important items. Let's just take a moment to farm before we try and get aggressive again. But as a result of Gambit trying to push things too much, too quickly, they're going to give up Roshan. And so now, even though you have this Blink Dagger, you may not be able to fight.
Oh, and they happen to be in the neighborhood, just kind of scout things out, and they make Lizzie pay for being a witness to the Roche murder. And I'm glad you did bring that up because, yeah, Liquid have kind of just set themselves up to be in a good position, and I was anticipating that Gambit had at least some decent money going, that they were going to have that Earthshaker blink for that skirmish top, but as I clicked on him, you had brought it up. He wasn't ready yet, but he has it now. So
yeah.
This, I imagine, has to be Gambit's time to strike. If they cannot make some big work out of this blink.
The thing is that they're fighting into an Aegis, which you just usually don't want to do. If they think the SF is completely solo because he has an Aegis, great. they can try and pick it off, but the truth is he's not. Insania is right behind him, as is Boxy.
Oh, wow. I mean, Earthshaker shows himself, but with Quakefa walking forward, they should get the impression that Quakefa may have help nearby, and that is the case. After he commits the dunk, they just swap him back, and that's 2 ultis in an unsuccessful kill of Quakefa.
In older days of Dota, it would be very common to pick up the Aegis and then have that hero play solo on one side of the map.
Yeah.
And then people kind of learned from that and said, okay, when he does that, let's just try and take away that Aegis and back out immediately. Liquid, though, I like the fact that they are playing around their SF. I really don't think they need to do anything else. Let Mickey clean up the other 2 lanes at all times, but just keep playing around SF. He's so strong right now. He's got Chrysalis, BKB. He hits for, like, over 250 damage a hit, and that's before you get like Wave of Terror that comes in to lower people's armor. That's before he's got like Inner Beast buffing up his attack speed even more.
Yeah, he's yoked out of his goddamn mind. I get what you're trying to drop right now.
Hell, they're even giving him the ice armor buff too.
He's got everything here. He's a behemoth as he ascends to the high ground now to unleash his fury onto this tier 3. We have to see if Gambit can stop them in their tracks in some fashion. They're trying to split pressure out as long as they can before it's mandatory for them to attend this defensive meeting. And they're trying to participate. Quakefa, though, obviously, with that Aegis, happy to be out front. They commit the Static Storm, but the swap back's going to be there onto GPK, and they lock him between those back lines. The Requiem goes out, but the Yules is there, and only delays the inevitable. He's going to be down and out nearly 50 seconds without a buyback. Liquid get another as Blizzy's going to be dropped. Mega kill streak for Quakefa. That bluish glow just gets brighter and brighter as he just fights his fury on forward. This Rax is set to fall. Are they going to break the will of Gambit here enough to force out the white flag, though? Well, they'll take their Rax and they'll walk away with big winnings here.
Gambit will probably hold on for one more fight just because they do have a tier 2. But they need to be able to like simultaneously wait out Aegis and stall this game so Liquid doesn't go high ground immediately again.
Oh, they've spotted out Earthshaker. Earthshaker will fall 30 seconds. He had Echo in about 15 seconds time. And I imagine that's going to be a tool they want to wait for their final hurrah, if you will. But Liquid not letting up one bit. Oh, snap. Who's calling out the bounty here? Gambit say, we got our eyes on Quakefa. Hey, good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, that is the person that, because you can't just ignore him just because he has Aegis, because he outputs too much damage. Look at him. He now has the Solar Crest on him. Good lord.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You jump him. He has so
attack
much
speed's out of
support
control.
nearby. Yep, there he goes. All right, here's Earthshaker back. They got the Blink Duck. This is going to be the final hurrah, I'd imagine, for Gambit. A big swap from Insania to pull Blizzy right inside. He throws his own life away to take down the machine, and they're successful in it. So now a 4v4 without worrying about Timbersaw. Jump in from GPK. Can he draw them close together for the setup from Earthshaker? He has no blink available, and they're going to lose Yol here, it looks like. Yol was able to get off his Stack Storm combo. Vampire moving in. Here's the dunk. And it's a dunk of his corpse onto the ground, unfortunately, as he falls flat on his face, and they throw out the towel.
And he's like, I'm coming, boys. I'm running for it. And then Quakefa just pops BKB, and he just stands there like, oh, well, guess that's game then, huh?
Liquid able to stop their loss streak. They get a W here, one expected by them against Gambit. Gambit unfortunately going to fall short in this one 2-0. A bit of an interesting, awkward game with the disconnects and such, but a good time for Liquid. A little bit of hipster here and there, but a lot of good team fight, and, you know, they had their objectives and they followed through.
Yeah, Gambit, they haven't looked the best. Even when they did have FNG, they weren't really hitting their stride, but now that they've lost their captain, things just look really bad for them. When it comes to drafting, like, some of their movements in game aren't terrible. They're not making, like, huge mistakes, but it does feel like most of these games, they have a point where they just get a little bit lost in what to do.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to Liquid.